Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. After taking a little time off, as you saw in my last video, I was working on the Gladiator, doing a little installation there. Back to the Cobra project. Where we left off in the last Cobra video, I found out that I need to do something about that heater box that you see in front of you, as it is in the way of my new switches, and I can't put the dash back in until I get this heater box out of here. So I was thinking about it, and I'd already kind of had a few ideas. So I did some searching of images online and whatnot, and I found somebody who had done what I was thinking I would be able to do and retain the use of this box. And then I also did have somebody reach out to me on the Cobra forum, the Factory Five Cobra forum, and they basically said they did the same thing. So what I'm going to be doing with this box is I am going to be removing it from where it's currently located in the central position, and I'm going to flip it over 180 degrees-ish, remove the blower motor, and I'm going to sandwich the blower motor and the box on each side of the firewall. So the blower motor is going to move onto the other side of the firewall. I'll be able to reuse the two existing holes for the coolant lines, or the coolant lines to come through the firewall. And what it'll end up doing is having those two vents for the defroster pointing downward, and it'll be located pretty much directly in the passenger compartment right here. Downside is I was thinking about trying to do a glove box. That'll pretty much ruin that thought. As far as I can tell, there won't be enough room for a glove box. I won't know for sure until everything's done. So the way that this will most likely be set up is I will run one of the defrost ducts over to my footwell on the driver's side, so I'll have some sort of heat, at least if needed. The other one, I will probably use that, and since I'm going to be using the defrost vents, I will go ahead and get a kit to put the two defrost vents in the upper portion of the dash, and then run one hose and split that off of the other hole, and then the actual heat will still be retained. That flap door will still have room and open, and then that can be the main heat source on the passenger side. Haven't 100% decided. I may just run the two hoses over to my side and leave no defrost, because I'm not putting a top on this. I have no intention of putting a top or driving in the rain, so I really don't need defrost. But more to come on that. I'm not really in a huge hurry with that. The big thing is to get this thing removed and flipped over and moved to the other side. So as you can see, with what I was talking about doing, there's going to be plenty of room here on the firewall to mount the blower motor right there. So I'll just have to cut the square, and that should work out pretty good. I can, like I said, sandwich each side on the firewall, seal it up, and that should work. Since I had to drain the coolant in order to do this, which I have already done, lucky me, the vehicle doesn't have any kind of petcock valve on the radiator, so it's just pull the lower hose and fill a bucket. I decided that I'm going to probably address the water pump leak that this thing has. It's just a very small seepage out of the back plate, very common on those Ford water pumps. And then I'll also probably get a gasket kit for the intake manifold, because there's a slight oil leak on the back of the engine, and I am 99% sure it's coming from the back of the intake manifold. So what better time to do it than now, since I already have the coolant drained out of the engine. It'll just make it easier, get it all done at once, and hopefully resolve those issues. So those are the things that I have planned at this point in time. Unfortunately, that delays my whole brake upgrade and just keeps me from driving this that much longer, because I have to find the time in order to do these repairs. But that's kind of where I'm at. Makes sense, since the coolant's out of it, to just go ahead and do it now. So that is my thought process at the moment. One interesting thing I found, I don't know if you can see on the lower radiator hose there, the two hose clamps. When I pulled the hose off, there is actually a coolant flow restrictor in there that the previous owner put in there. Never really worked with one of those before, seen one of those before, as far as used in a vehicle. Did a little searching on it, and I guess the whole concept behind it is it keeps the pressure up and keeps the fluid in the radiator longer, so the radiator can do a better job as dissipating heat. The little bit of driving I did with the vehicle before I started tearing into it, it barely reached temperature. And when I ran it on a really hot day, it barely reached temperature. So obviously that's not the same as driving it, but I left that in there for now. I'm going to see how it works with it. If I notice any problems in the future, then I'll just go ahead and pull it out. So here we are. It's been a few days. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, last week I was on vacation from work, so I had a lot more time to get some stuff done. So that's why I was able to pump out a few videos. Now I'm back to work, so it's back to just getting to this a little bit here and there when I have time. So it's probably going to be back to more like one video a week or so as far as production on the car goes. But I just finished pulling out the heater box. You can see the aluminum brackets that the previous owner had put in there to mount it to. I'm going to go ahead and get those removed. And then I'll probably just put some new rivets in those few open holes that are in the firewall, just kind of fill them in, make it look like, something is at least there of importance and not just have holes in the firewall. As far as the heater unit goes, it is right here on the floor. Pretty easy to take out, and it should be pretty easy to disassemble. As I was saying earlier, I'm going to basically pull this top half off. It's just Phillips screws that are holding it on, and separate it. I'll have the motor assembly on the engine side of the firewall, and then the plastic box portion with the heater core will be on the inside of the cabin. So it'll basically be mounted like such. Upside down up against the firewall. That way this door will open to do the heat portion on the passenger floor, and then I can run two hoses off of these two outlets over to the driver's side of the floor. I think that's how I'm going to end up doing it. I'm not going to worry about trying to cut holes in the cowl to do defrost vents. Like I said, I don't plan on driving this in the rain at any point in time. No intention of putting a top on it or anything like that. So I really shouldn't need defrost vents at all. It's mostly just going to be heater for the footwells for both passengers, and there should be enough air blowing out of there to keep us warm enough. I mean, I highly doubt that we'll even need it with the amount of heat that's probably going to come off of the aluminum, because this thing doesn't have any insulation or anything. So that's kind of where things stand right now as far as it goes. I also did get the gaskets ordered for the intake manifolds and the water pump, so waiting for those to arrive, because I'm going to do all this at once while the coolant's drained out of the vehicle. So here we are with the cases split apart. Went ahead, undid the screws, and as you can see, the blower motor has a pretty flat edge, so this should be no problem to mount on the engine side of the firewall. It'll sit flat just like this basically. I will just have to cut the hole for right here where the air blows through, and then the mounting holes. As far as the casing for the core goes, as you can see, there is a lip. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is drill a couple new holes, one on each side, for new rivets to just rivet those a little lower to hold the case parts together. And then I will have to use a saw or a Dremel or whatnot to cut that edge off, so that this edge right here, so that this face is flat, and this is not going to be in the way, and then this is the face that will go up against the inside of the firewall, and then we should have heat no problem. As I said, this is going to sit this way inside the car. This will be the top basically, and then I'll have these hoses going through the existing holes. So shouldn't be too hard to do. So I'm gonna have to just do a little trim in and whatnot, and then put a hole in the firewall, and we should be all set. So as far as this video goes, I think this is where I'm going to end it. I've probably bored you enough with details and rambling on about my plans. Next video will be me actually putting something in effect and getting the work done as far as putting this together and getting the heater mounted where I want it to be. I did get the gaskets in the mail yesterday as well for the water pump. I got the one that goes between the back plate and the pump itself, as well as the back plate and the engine block. So that should be everything I need to seal the water pump, and then I got a full intake manifold set for a GT40 style intake off of an Explorer or a 93 Cobra, since I do have the Ford GT40 intake on this engine. So get all those done while I'm doing this heater. I'll actually probably pull the upper manifold off before I start doing any of the heater work, just to get it out of the way, give me a lot more access to the firewall. So yeah, I think that's about where I'm going to leave this one at the moment. So if you like what you're seeing, you want to follow along with all the work I'm going to be doing on this car, please subscribe, hit the notification button. I will be posting videos at least once a week as far as the car goes. And yeah, like I said, I will get back to you, and hopefully we'll have some more content coming soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.